Well, hello everybody. Good early evening. It is your best friend Justin from jmasterproductions. I got a new little background here. I moved some things around in my apartment as I said I would. I actually did get a new desktop. It's not hooked up yet though. I still got my old setup, and that's because my who I got it from, the person did not. It was actually my dad, but my dad did not give me a monitor. I do have one, but I'm gonna need two in order for the content to look good and stuff. So, nonetheless, I am very happy about that. Like I said, I hope I can take JMaster Productions even further than it already is. I got 82 subscribers, a whopping 82. I know, a whole lot, right? So, I'm trying to get the word of truth out here as always, and it's hard. It's not easy. But today I did want to react to some things with you guys because there's a lot going on in the world. There really is. It's hard to pinpoint even where to start because people's minds are just like you tell them any sort of fact or you tell them anything and they look at you like you're crazy. And as I've been speaking about in my content, there's all these sub-truth, we'll call them, rabbit holes. These sub-niche conspiracies that people are falling down. And what I mean by that is people like Nick Fuentes. That is who really I'm referring to when I say that. But I do want to take a look at some content. There was a guy, and I'm sure many of you know who he is, Professor Jiang. And this video here, it's if you don't know who he is, this guy in March basically all of a sudden exploded on X and in the alternative media space. He is on here talking about a lot of truth. I mean, listen to what he's saying. We'll play a clip here. And it's funny, I played a clip of him maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago in a video when he first kind of came out. And he's drawing on this smart board or something, talking about the elites, how they control, and it was through your attention and all that. And what he's saying is true, and all the real truthers, I'll call them, all the legitimate people who I know are well researched and know even a hell of a lot more than me on what's going on. And some truthers who I follow and watch, I'll call them the legitimate truthers because there's people like Sneeko, right? If you don't know who he is, he's basically a micro-influencer. And this is what that Professor Jiang has been shot up in less than a month to be. Now he's coming out and he's making podcasts with bigger guys like Sneeko, who's big in the alternative space. That's where he's known. A lot of people in my generation are watching guys like this, and Nick Fuentes, and Jake Shields, and what's his name, Myron Gaines, and Candace Owens, people like them, okay? Been making a lot of content about those people. I feel like these people I'm going to be making a lot of content about nonstop because it's really annoying that these people get all this praise for stuff that people have been talking about, including myself, for a long time now. And I've been putting videos out here talking about the same things they are since 2019. And it's very frustrating that these people are getting props, but not on top of that, they're still misleading you. They have an agenda behind them, and if they don't have an agenda, they're just a useful idiot. Either way, they're wrong. So, Professor Jiang exploded in the month of March, and these truthers were speculating on them, doing some background checks on them, doing their research on them, right? And they think he's some sort of agent. They think he's connected somehow to Chinese military or something. Or not military, Chinese Central Intelligence Agency. Who knows? But what I know, because sometimes you don't have to do all this crazy research if you understand the basics and how things work. If you know who this guy is, if he's being pushed out, if he's making podcasts with people like Sneeko, and who's that other guy? I forgot his name, the entrepreneur guy who, he got famous off making the videos about investing on YouTube. I forgot the guy's name, but he's going on platforms like that, and he's talking with these big alternative media people. And when you're getting pushed out like that, it's for a reason. It's because they want you to see it. They're using the truth talking points, right? And I don't know where they're going to go with it. But anyway, you know what? Let me stop talking because I realize I'm ranting, and let's play the video.
social media. I don't think it's organic. I think like I'm being amplified and given more prominence than I should be. And so the question is, why is this happening? And one suspicion I have is that this sort of social dissent, this social division, is also part of the playbook. Because if this war is meant to move towards the end of the world and the Great Reset, then you need civil war throughout the Western world, right? You need civil war in America, you need civil war in Europe. And what better way to foment civil war than have people argue all the time on social media? What better way than to show people that this war is pointless, it's unwinnable, and just sow apathy and discontent in the American mind. So, I don't know if this is true, but I think that if we just assume that this war is eschatological, and there are many powerful people who benefit from the Great Reset, then civil war is part of the script.
Yeah, so I know this is a minute and 30-second clip here, but just to, I guess, give you an idea, like he says things along those lines. He says all the truth talking points. And let me actually look for another video of him real quick that we can take a look at where he says something a little better than he did here. So here's his X page. You should also follow me on X, by the way. My username is right here, but if you can't see that because my screen's cut off, everything will be in the description box below for X and other social media. Of course, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. That helps a ton, and I really appreciate it. But he's got about 186,000 followers. That's a good amount. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a good chunk of people. Hell, I wish I had that amount of people to speak to and that would actually, listen to what I say. Let's take a look at this video here. I guess this is Trump's tweet about Iran, or let's see what he says. All right, yeah, let's take a look at this clip here.
Donald Trump himself has said many, many things, okay? He said that, you know what, if we leave the Middle East, it's not our problem. We don't really care. And he also says that, hey, NATO, it's your responsibility to open the Strait of Hormuz because we told you so and because you need the oil. And of course, NATO is angry at Donald Trump because previously Donald Trump threatened to take over Greenland. Okay, so everyone thinks Donald Trump is just a moron. He doesn't plan ahead because before this war in Iran, where he needs the help of NATO, he was pissing off NATO by threatening to take over Greenland. So Donald Trump is over the place. He's just a moron, right? But let's just assume, okay, that the ground invasion goes ahead. What will happen? Well, as I predicted before, if a ground invasion were to go ahead, first of all, America would lose this war because a ground invasion would fail, and the Iranians are fully prepared for a ground invasion. Second of all, if America loses this war, the American empire would die because we'd be forced out of the Middle East. They would lose the petrodollar and the US dollar as a global reserve currency. And the third thing is the global economy would collapse. So clearly, Donald Trump is the worst president in human history. And he's a complete buffoon, right? Okay, but let's put our thinking caps on. Okay, let's use game theory and say, but what if, for some strange reason, Donald Trump wants to lose this war in Iran? What if he wants the American empire to collapse? What if Donald Trump wants to destroy the global economy? Then he'd be a genius, right? He's a moron because he's going to destroy the American empire, but if he actually wants to destroy the American empire, then the man is the greatest American president ever, okay? Okay, so we're gonna have a fun class today, and we're gonna make the argument that in fact, Donald Trump is a genius. That in fact, all this chaos is purposeful. That there's actually a plan behind all this, okay? That's the argument I want to make to you today. Okay.
And yes, he's pretty much correct. I mean, that's crazy, right? It's really like this is pretty much the talking points that this Professor Jiang here. This is the talking points he uses. He uses a lot of truth talking points, a lot of stuff that I would say because what have I been saying ever since I started making videos? Donald Trump is part of the elite. Donald Trump is ushering in the New World Order. That's what's going on. And it's 2026, and people still believe that a politician is going to save them somehow, some way. They still believe in this lesser of the two evils. People aren't going to wake up, unfortunately. I've realized this. People just are simply not going to wake up. I don't know where things are going to go exactly, but it's not going to be good just for your average, everyday person going forward. There might be good time periods here and there where things even seem better or a time period of that seems good. But ultimately, it's part of a plan. And people don't see the bigger picture. This is what I try to get people to see on my YouTube channel. And it's so hard because people think that whoever is the president now is actually doing all the things that's going on. They're looking at the wrong people. Or if they can actually maybe see past it, then they're going to look at Israel and it's all the Jews, or maybe it's all the Satanists, which, yes, of course, Zionism's a big issue. There's, JQs that are definitely involved, but not your average everyday JQ, not your average everyday Freemason. Not just these idiots who just join the Satanic Church because they want to be a part of something and they just know lower level things. People don't know who's at the top. And in fact, who's at the top isn't even important. You know who's at the top? Yourself. You would see a mirror. If you want to know who the top of the pyramid is, it's yourself. You would see a mirror. Because the elites or whatever, they're only getting away with what people collectively allow. And people are collectively allowing our asses to be kicked. People are collectively allowing the government to tax us half to death. People are collectively allowing people like Donald Trump, like Professor Jiang, like Sneeko, like Myron Gaines, like Fuentes to influence them. Because again, people don't understand that the alt media is controlled. No one knows who I am. And you can listen, people might say that's because my content sucks, but no, it's because you don't know who I am because I'm talking about realistic things that the powers that be do not want pushed out there. They don't want these things pushed out there. There's plenty of people who it does reach that actually agree because we're at a point in time where people could see past the bullshit. And now it's what it's really about is getting people to take action. So anyway, I'm showing you Professor Jiang to show how this is like the newest face in the alt media. And what, who is the guy's name that I was watching? He did a whole deep thing on Professor Jiang along with some other dude. I think it was Archaix. I think that's his name on YouTube. He was comparing him to the Hawk Twa girl. If you don't know who the Hawk Twa girl is, I guess maybe 2 years ago at this point, she got famous off an interview, right? One of those interviews that people my generation watch that they do on the street of drunk people on the street. She got famous for saying Hawk Twa, and you can maybe use your imagination to what that might mean. And this girl exploded. She was the fastest internet sensation in history, the Hawk Twa girl. And now Professor Jiang is second behind her as the fastest growing internet sensation. Now I understand the Hawk Twa girl, of course, a lot more because pretty much anyone would find humor in it because this is where people's mentality are these days. But Professor Jiang, it's kind of niche oriented, right? It's niche oriented to where someone in my niche is gonna see this guy and be interested in what he's saying, not your average person. So I'm showing you him because this guy's been a big debate. Now, a lot of the truthers who I follow on X who don't make any content, just tweet all day, they're talking about this guy because he's showing up on our pages because the algorithm probably is thinking that I would like this guy or another one who thinks like me or follows the same people would like this person, right? Because let's be real, the algorithm, sure, they'll say, maybe it does know you better than yourself, but you can easily outsmart it, right? Because when this guy all of a sudden exploded, obviously when I first saw him, I was like, who was this guy? And he's got a suspicious background and how he's called Professor Jiang, but he's not really a professor and he never was. And he lied about it. He said, well, I never called myself a professor when he was asked about it, even though he's been calling himself Professor Jiang in every in every video that he seems to be making. So what people are alleging is that he's being fed, truth information from intelligence agencies. Like it's not really his talking points; he's just being fed the talking points, because everything he's saying is pretty accurate, right? Like what he basically was just said here in a nutshell, if you didn't figure it out, is that Trump is working for the elite and they're bringing in the new world order. And that's what me and a lot of people have been saying now for a long time. And there's been an awakening kind of since to his bullshit since he came back in office, mainly due to the stuff in Israel. But let's watch another clip here of him talking about the Great Reset. Let's see what he's got to say here. Get myself out.
How and why suddenly the bubble pops, okay? What is the mechanism or trigger for the collapse? If you study economics, you will never ever know the answer. So we are going to focus on speculation today, okay? So again, the internet knows this, but I've never studied economics. I don't know much about economics, but I'm curious as to why this happens, okay? Why is it that bubbles pop? How how do economies rise and fall, okay? So I'm not an expert. I'm not even a professor. Yes, I understand. But what I do is I engage in speculation.
So I guess because a lot of people were calling him out for not being a professor. It's not even just the dude I was watching. A lot of people started getting suspicious of him and calling him out. Excuse me. A lot of people have been calling him out because of how suspicious he gets thrown out there and how much he's being promoted. Because if you make content, and this is the thing, most people don't make content, so they don't understand how it works. Like they don't understand like what goes into it, and especially if you're talking about something for real, they don't understand that that stuff is hard to find, and they don't understand the bigger picture of things and who's controlling what. No one is slipping through the cracks. If let's just say I slip through the cracks somehow and my videos start going viral, I'm either going to try to get compromised or just going to make sure that my stuff never gets pushed out there, right? That's really just what's going to happen. They're not going to come after me and kill me because I'm no threat. But if I all of a sudden started gaining millions of followers and views, then I can potentially become a problem for them, and they'll deal with me somehow. Whether that's coming and trying to compromise me, and maybe me saying no and them just completely burying me, or who knows, man. And that's the thing, because not everyone who gets famous, I'm not saying literally every single person who you see viral is part of it or part of this dark occult that controls everything. Some people, they want stupid shit out there, of course. But I'm saying when it comes to like the political realm, because that's where people are going to kind of gear towards if they're interested in world change or changing the world, let's say, right? That's the first thing a lot of people are going to think of when it comes to changing the world, is either politics or religion, which really they're both the same thing, let's be real. Politics and religion, because they're both a belief system and an occult system. So anyway, I thought it was funny how he just mentioned, well, I'm not professor. Haha, yeah, funny, or I'll explain, whatever he said.
For fun, for entertainment, okay? So just see this as a fun class where we're gonna explore some fun topics that have no scholarly basis, okay? All right? So just keep this in mind, guys.
What timing it ended. Yeah, man, that is Professor Jiang, guys. I would really love to hear what you guys have to say about him. I'm not convinced that this guy is legitimate. I'm not convinced that he's being promoted organically. I'm not convinced that the talking points are even all his and the stuff he talks about. It's very accurate, right? The stuff he talks about, and that's what's weird about it. You got to understand, guys, is that a lot of you watching me are probably not really truly awake. I'm not saying I have everything figured out, but people nonstop are falling for psyops left and right. I'm talking 9 out of 10 people you come across are falling for psyops. They're falling for things that aren't true. And if you tell them that these things are a lie, they get angry. They get offended by it. And this is where we are as collectively, the collective conscious of humanity. That's where it's at. People care more about their emotions and how they feel and being comfortable than they do about the truth. And a lot of people might not even see a problem with that. They might say, "Well, as long as I'm comfortable, I don't care." You know? And that's where our head's at. Listen, like the world's not going to end tomorrow, right? The world, it's the world. This isn't the world about the world ending. Excuse me. That's not what none of this my content is about. That's not what the powers that be are trying to do. But what they're trying to do is, yes, eliminate the population and decrease the population of humans as much as possible. They are poisoning us. They with everything you could possibly think of. I mean, everything you use on a daily basis has toxic chemicals in it and microplastics, right? That I've spoken about before. It's no secret even now that they print your money, they tax you, they steal your income. They started in funding the modern education system and the modern pharmaceutical medicine industry, and these things have been used to poison not only us physically but our minds and our spirits. And they've done a great job of it, to be honest. And people just can't get past the politics of it, man. It's like years of talk of me talking about it, years of other people talking about it, especially because I'm not even like that old over here. But a lot of people warning about this, and I don't know what it is. I can't relate because I've never been emotionally ever throughout my life, even when I was dead asleep. I've never been emotionally invested in politics, and the reason why is because excuse me, guys. The reason why is because I saw how much it divided people. I saw how much people fought over it. I saw how stupid it was. And even though I was asleep, I was able to see that from then. And when I found out, through my eyes opening to truth that, whoa, these guys are actually secretly working together. And at this point, it's just obvious. I mean, politics and entertainment at this point have merged, especially with social media and all the things and all the controversy that's on the internet. It's funny because people like in person don't really talk about controversial things. It's kind of just all on the internet now. And the controversial things that really are just true gets buried, and they tell you the truth and let you know the truth with Professor Jiang, for example, or these other micro influencers. They use these guys to give you some truth so that then they can mislead you from there. Right? They tell you truth mixed with lies because they know you're going to get suspicious over time. People are going to catch on eventually, especially with the information age we're in. They don't really even hide it. Like, they want you to know also. That's what's funny about the powers that be is they want you to know about their agendas. At least some of them, the ones they want you to know. That's why the whole Epstein file thing has gotten huge. That's why the whole flat earth thing got huge. That's why the whole, oh, it's all the Jews thing got huge, right? So, I mean, man, like, the powers that be want you to know. And I've been saying they want you to know, right? Have I not? Because it's how the black magic works that they perform is basically telling you what they're doing and you still not seeing it. And I've even said this. Donald Trump or whoever, the world's most liked guy in politics, whoever, any celebrity can come right out. Let's just use Donald Trump, though. I think that's the best example. He can go out right now and he could tell you the things I'm telling you. And he could say, yeah, I've been a part of this occult system. I am influencing even all of my followers. I don't care about America. I don't care about the United States. I'm working to make it burn down, kind of like what Professor Jiang was saying. I'm here lying through my teeth to people and acting and causing division amongst people so that they can't see the bigger picture on who the bad people are. And the government, we're all crooks. We all participate in the Epstein file thing. It's not just some people. No, it's all of us. They can tell you these things. People won't believe it because it's hard to believe. I know it's hard to believe, but these are the facts, guys. And it's frustrating, man. How we're in a time period where people can't see these things, and they're very obvious, and it's just very frustrating that they can't. But I would started to think because the guy who I mentioned earlier, who was talking about Professor Jiang, he said something that I thought was interesting, which is that he thinks that the world isn't meant to be saved. Not that you shouldn't come out here and talk about these things, because that's what our purpose is. But maybe you're just here until you get it right. Anyway, moving on from Professor Jiang, I wanted to show this clip because I thought this was pretty interesting. Take a listen here.
for so long, there was this feminist movement that tried to push and tell us that we should all just kind of put aside wanting to start a family. Don't worry about getting married. Don't worry about having kids. You should solely focus on your career. And I know so many women, and you probably do too, Rachel, who got to a certain age and realized, wait a minute, this is something I actually want. And in many cases, they either had a huge struggle to have children or they couldn't do it at all and they were left absolutely devastated. But you're right, this isn't about locking women up in the home and saying, like, you can't go out and pursue things independently. This is about women continuing to work and having independent pursuits of their own, but it is about a focus on returning to family. And those of us with families of our own know, Rachel, it doesn't matter what I do the rest of my life. The most powerful title I will ever have is the title.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Let's go back to the stats here. Yeah, it's really interesting, right? How this is going on. And I talked about how there's kind of this shift to where we're kind of going back to these like Christian people, or people want to at least, because we're not going to go back. But it's going to appear at least that people want this more traditional lifestyle, like the typical life of a Christian couple in the United States, let's say in the 1970s or the 1980s, right? When you could actually just work one job and be able to support a family. And this is the problem with the boomer generation and, even the generations behind them, is because they grew up in a time, especially the boomers more so, where America was a lot more prosperous. There's times where the system, or whatever time period you're in, like, you might just be living in a period of time where things are going to benefit you more than other generations. And this is why a lot of people call boomers and the older generation selfish, and I can understand why. As a young man, I really truly can, because I'm looking, I live on my own in a studio apartment in New Jersey, which is an expensive state, and I don't think about buying a home. I don't think about all these luxury things ever, or really much of a financial future, as negative as that might sound. And I say that just because of where everything is going. I say that because, maybe I have to change where I live because I live in an expensive area. But you know what? Like, all my friends are in the state. My family is in the state. I grew up in the state. I shouldn't have to run away to live a better life. People should have the brains to stand up. Unfortunately, they don't. All the people in my state who are somewhat like politically awake to what's going on, what they really just think is that we need to get the state conservative. They think if the state becomes conservative, then the problems, I guess, that we all have are just going to go away. And again, these are adults. I don't know where grown adults' heads are at. They're under MK Ultra, like the slide shows here. That is 100% what they're under. They might have some of those tubes figured out, but they don't have the complete picture. They're completely under mind control. Anyone who still thinks that politics is the answer, they're completely under mind control. And I get frustrated a lot, especially at guys around my age, right? Because let's be real, quite frankly, a lot of dudes in their 20s or in their 30s even nowadays, they're not married and they don't have kids, so they got time. So where are men and women putting their time, right? So I'm saying all these things so that when it comes to something like this, excuse me, the whole dating market, the whole dating dynamic is messed up. It's effed up. And you know who did that? The social engineers, the same people who print our money supply. They have caused a huge gender war. And I've spoken about the gender war a lot in my content because it's a very important thing for people to understand how men and women are being put to fight against each other. And it's a huge topic because, let's be real, most men and women are straight. They want and they want a relationship with the opposite sex. So this is something that affects everyone. And I've spoken about how the powers that be use the women. They brainwash women a certain way so that men can be a certain way. So that because men will follow what women want. And men and women support the system, right? Women believe that all this authority should exist. They for the most part believe in the police. They believe in military. They believe in authority. They believe in money. They believe, and I've spoken about how money is probably the biggest value system of the woman. And I think what's gone on is a lot of women are living or have lived that lifestyle of, oh, I don't need no man, this and that. Let me go to college and let me get a job. Because let's be real, most of the college graduates these days, and really the past couple decades, I would say, has been women. More women are excelling in not only just grammar school, but higher, quote unquote, higher education. They're excelling in both of them. There's more women employed than there is men. Now, I know men are still out earning women, but for the most part, women are doing pretty well compared to a lot of men, to be honest with you. And women, they don't understand the luxury they have of being able to have constant interaction with the opposite sex via social media, via dating apps, or via just leaving their house. Um, as a guy, like, and I've spoken about this, I know a lot of guys who just, they are my age or around my age, and they have very little experience with the opposite sex. Therefore, they really don't understand how the modern woman is. And and I know a lot of women, sense this on men, which is why they aren't interested in most men, because they can sense that, oh, this guy is very inexperienced and I want a guy who's more experienced, right? So anyway, there's a whole method of division that the powers that be have brainwashed women to view men, and what characteristics that women really truly find attractive and go for, as opposed to what a woman might say she wants. Because we all know actions speak louder than words. So I think a lot of women now have gone down this path. Let's just say they're in their 40s, 30s, maybe some even in their late 20s like me. And they're realizing, holy shit, like, you know, this whole thing of working a job and paying bills, it's tough because it's hard to make a living, one, off one person. But two, a lot of women just view men, because of the way they've been conditioned growing up, that the man should be the breadwinner, that the man should be the one who finances everything. And a lot of women won't date a guy or entertain a guy if he really doesn't have much going for him financially. I'm not saying that's the deal breaker. It could be for some women. But a woman, for the most part, wants to see that you have things going for you, that you're a competent guy, and that you have a method of making Federal Reserve notes, right? And I wish things would change because, listen, as I've said numerous times now, women can really change things. I mean, women have a lot of power more over men. And what I mean by that is it could be used for good or it could be used for evil. And right now, the power that the women have, the vast majority of them, or the collective consciousness of women, is they're using that power for evil, to degrade men, to even further say things or act a certain way and believe certain things that further divide men and women. And let's be real, when it comes to the truth community, which is a very minuscule amount of the world's population, even in that realm, it is dominated by men. Now, this could be because men are more courageous or whatever, or men take risks more. But I firmly believe it's because the woman, the way she's been brainwashed by society, is to not go against the social norm. A lot of women are very emotional as it is, and we've all been trained to think emotionally. Not even just women, but women are just naturally more emotional. Therefore, if something makes them uncomfortable, they're probably not going to do it. And telling the truth and talking about certain subjects makes people very uncomfortable, especially when you're well researched on it and you know what you're talking about, which I am. I've been studying and looking into every day for what I'm talking about, the things I talk about for, what year is it? It's 2026. For 9 years, almost 9 years now, I've been looking into these things. So, yeah, I wanted to bring that up because, listen, the gender war is a very important thing. And I think what this is going to show is a lot of women have been working because, let's be real, most women that I know have college degrees and are working. I would say I see more women that have better things going for them career-wise than most men in my generation do. And that, of course, is by design. Everything is, nothing is a coincidence. There's a reason why these dynamics, and especially in terms of gender, are playing out the way they are. This is an extremely in-depth topic that people need to really understand. and it's hard because it offends people. It offends men and women. We have the manosphere that I've spoken about many times that has exploded, and that was basically the antidote to feminism and all that shit that's happened since the 70s. And everything is just a wreck. I mean, people are just very divided. But anyway, in my generation, the reason I said all that is because a lot of us don't want to comply with this 9 to 5 corporate typical bullshit that basically we watched our parents do and the older generations do, right? My generation is the one that's saying, oh man, like, what's the point in doing all this work, barely getting paid, and just having enough to scrape by? Because that's what it is. It's not an exaggeration. That's what it is. You go to work, you don't get paid a whole lot. You're expected to go above and beyond all the time. Maybe you'll get some benefits, but you don't make enough money to practically even support yourself, let alone if you were married and if you had a family to take care of. Right? We all know this. The average American knows this, which is why I always use money as an example, but it still doesn't seem to sink in and wake people up to do something about it. You ask older people and tell them these dynamics with tax and the whole fiat money system, they don't really care. Because the last thing they're going to do is, if they're old in their 60s or 70s or whatever, they're not going to admit they've been duped their whole life, unfortunately. And that's the problem with them. They think that's life. They think that. I remember my dad would always say to me, oh, there's two things in life you're guaranteed: death and taxes. And, he says it because, my dad has had a pretty successful life on paper. He's a very successful guy on paper, I would say. But like I've said many times, my parents never told me any sort of truth. They don't know truth. There's a slight awakening with my mom. That's a different topic, but there's a slight awakening with her. But my parents did not teach me any truth or morality. I had to learn it from strangers on the internet who taught me everything that I know about what's really taking place in the world. So a lot of these women, what's going on is they're realizing, like, man, I'm working, I'm doing what I was supposed to do, but like it's hard to survive, and they want help. That's what they want. They listen. They want to date a guy, of course, who has something going for him financially. It doesn't mean you have to be some millionaire or even make 6 figures. Really, they just want to see that you're driven and that you got something going for yourself, and they make that hard. And this is an agenda. And man, everything just ties together. With the inflation and all that, it ties to depopulation, because this discourages people from wanting to get together and start families. And this is people's excuse right now for why they're not going on dates in my generation. They don't want to go on dates because apparently they're too broke. I think I saw a crazy stat that 80% of men said that. I also saw a crazy stat today on Instagram, and the stat said 86% of 18 to 24-year-olds are not in any sort of intimate relationship with each other. That's wild. That is crazy. That is not normal. That is bad. People both sides, men and women, are gonna say, oh well, we want peace, we don't want to have to deal with each other, men suck, women suck, we both suck. No, you're being played. You're being played by the same people who print your money supply. You're being played by the same people who have monopolized mainstream media. You don't understand the bigger picture or what the gender war is. Women will say it's all men. Men will say it's all women. There is no conclusion. It's like politics. There is no conclusion because both sides are controlled. Until people can realize that, maybe we'll start to fix our relationships with each other. Because we're falling for a divide and conquer method. In case you haven't figured it out. That's what this whole shit is with my whole the younger generation, not dating, not forming proper bonds, not even having platonic friendships, right? You go talk to an average 29-year-old man. They're very weird and awkward, and they have no principles or morals, and they have no fucking idea what's going on around them. And that's why girls don't want to hang out with them. Go talk to your average woman. The average woman has also no fucking idea what's taking place. The way they view men and the way they view dating is all skewed. It's all through a lens of, oh, how is this gonna make me look to other people, right? Both sides are very guilty of very messed up things. Okay, Now men, as I said, they're looking at the trad con thing, and now that's becoming a trend. And I think, and again, I think a lot of women are retreating to that, and people in general are retreating to these traditional values because they want things to change. They want things to go back. And you know what? Right now, with Trump in office, it looks like there's been this rise in Christian nationalism, especially with the anti-Semitic stuff going on, right? And this is all by design. This is what people don't understand. These things are all connecting. And the gender war is so that people will ultimately what it's about is it's eugenics, so that people don't get together, they don't form bonds, they don't have kids, they don't talk to each other, they don't have a will or a desire to want to go and form an intimate relationship with the opposite sex, which is if when male and female, if a male and a female who's truly awake comes together in one, let's just say in natural law, in God's law, whatever, that is a very powerful thing, and that's what the powers that be do not want. So they had to brainwash men and women to be a certain way, and that's why the gender dynamics are so messed up. So it's really interesting, man. The gender war, man, I'm telling you, it's a very vital thing that people need to understand. Anyway, moving on to, I just want to react to one more video here. You guys probably remember Shammy Deep. I've made videos with him. If you don't remember, you can look through my archives from last year, around this time actually. It was like winter and spring of last year. We made a good amount of streams together. Very enlightened guy, very intelligent. But I don't know what it is about this guy, but he just lacks courage. This guy did something that really bothered me. I won't get into the whole story, but he did something that really bothered me, and I can't respect someone like him. Like he's a very intelligent guy, very awake, knows just as much, if not more, than me about what's really taking place in the world, and he just doesn't do anything, man. He just. We're gonna react to like this is just like a clip of him, but it's to show you how bad, and I hate to say it this way, but his videos are so bad. Like he posts, first of all, maybe a couple times a year about truth. It's like when he feels like it. If you want anything to do with the truth, you have to be tough as it comes internally. You have to be able to push through things. This is not the time to, and I'm not saying you have to do something every friggin' day. You need breaks and stuff. But this guy always needs a break. He'll come out for a day or two. He might feel himself for a day or two. And this is the problem with the modern man. They're not consistent. They lack testosterone. They feel sorry for themselves all the time. I don't know what it is. Okay? Listen, I'm not perfect. I go through my struggles too. I don't feel like making a video right now, to be honest. But I know I'm morally obligated to. And that's the thing. You're held to a moral obligation when you know. Okay? When you know the truth, you're held to it. You're charged morally to make videos. Okay? That's what all of us need to be doing. So I don't have any respect for this guy. If you're watching Shammy, sorry. You could earn it back by coming back on or progressing in your content. But I would make streams with this guy, and it would always bother me that, I was working full time, and he's asking me, we would make like a 2-hour podcast, and he's asking me if I can make the clips and like edit them, or like, he doesn't offer to do any work. It's like he just wants me to do everything. He doesn't market it. I post it all over my social media and stuff, and I edit it. I edit my content. I put thumbnails on my content. This guy doesn't edit his shit, and he doesn't put any effort into it, right? He doesn't put a thumbnail even on the video. He doesn't post it on his social media. He doesn't market it. I noticed he wouldn't do that when we would post. Sometimes he would, but again, it's like when he feels himself. And I listen to this guy makes music. Not that his music is bad, but he dropped something of him rapping recently. And I'm like, yo, what the hell is this guy talking about? He doesn't live that gangster lifestyle, making money, strippers, all that. I don't know, man. It's in one breath, he believes in the truth, but then in another, he wants to live this like famous DJ rapper lifestyle. I don't really know. But anyway, listen to how bad his content is. I mean, what he's saying is good. It's just, listen.
Art in this life. If you don't figure out who you are, you're never going to know what your purpose is and what you should be doing and who you should be around and where you should be spending your time. Like, you have to figure that out. Like, that's so crucial.
I apologize. For some reason, his audio is terrible. Like, I have to have my speaker set on full blast just to hear him.
crucial, and a lot of people that go about life not figuring that out, not knowing who they are and what they're capable of, and that's scary to me. Come on, Braun, damn it! Like that shit is scary to me. Like I don't want to. Oh my god!
Listen to the tonality in his voice. Listen to how he's just. There's not much there. He doesn't have any charisma. He doesn't have any energy or volatility or anything. And plus, he's playing NBA. Not that there's anything wrong with video games, but I don't know. And that's another thing about this guy. He was so into sports betting, and if you look through the archives of the videos he made a lot of connections with sports and numerology because he's really big into the numerology things. And I'm not denying there's any truth in it, but he thinks he can hack sports betting or something because he knows it. But it doesn't seem like he's doing that. It seems like the bets that he places all the time are wrong. So I think that's his only source of income. I hate that I'm blasting the guy, but I know he doesn't work a full-time job. I know he doesn't have a girlfriend. I know he hasn't had a girlfriend in a long time, according to what he told me. So I don't know what he's doing in his free time. It's he has all the time in the world to make content and pump out content, but he barely ever does it. And if he does, he doesn't do it good, to be honest. He makes music more than he does content, which is great, but he doesn't market it. Again, he might put it on his Twitter or page or something, or here on YouTube once in a while, but they don't get views. It's because he doesn't put effort into it. So it's listen, people, if you want to wake up the world, you can't be. And I always speak about this. The keyboard warriors that I see on Twitter, who they know truth, but all they do is tweet. You go on their page and they got no website. They have nothing. They don't even have a picture of themselves, or their real name. And this is why things are getting bad, because no one does anything. Everyone is just letting it fucking happen.
I can't wait for you to save my life. Get that. We out. Let's go, Curry. Let's go, Curry. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, man. So many people they don't go after what they want to do in life. They allow their parents, their friends, their family to peer pressure them into doing things that other people want them to do, but they're not doing what they want to do. And we live in a world that we don't understand. So why follow what other people say? Why not just do what you want to do and do what you feel is right within inside of you? And I'm always I don't think that I know, not that I don't think, I know for sure we're not supposed to be on this earth working every day, 7 days a week. Some people, 7 days a week, 5 days a week. We're not supposed to be working every day, paying bills and paying for all this stuff that's abundantly free to us when we're born here,
And he's right. He's correct. Which is what I always talk about in my content, how much of bullshit the fiat money system is, and capitalism and all that, and the problems with it and what it's really about. And of course, when you talk about the issues with capitalism, people just assume you're some sort of communist or whatever. But the problem is with this guy here is, again, he's turning 30 years old soon. I'm 100% sure. And it's yeah, I know, but you got to do something, man. Because again, I don't know him a whole lot well. I don't know him that well, excuse me. But from what I see, this guy has no excuse to why he shouldn't. Me and him could have been making pods together. If he took this shit serious with me from last year to now, my God, we could have done a lot of good stuff together. But he's lacking courage. And even the other people who I've had on, who are my friends, right? It's they come on when they feel like it, and then it takes them they need to build up all this courage to come back on again. It's like the gym, man. Just keep going at it. Just keep going back at it, right? That's the only way you're going to get good at it or get comfortable with something. And I hate that I have to use this guy as an example, because we would probably be pretty good friends, realistically. But actually, I don't really know, because, I don't know what he's going through. He's one of those people that he tries to make himself seem more important than he is, and he tries to make himself seem more busy than he is. I see through all his bullshit, and it's annoying because again, something could have came about this, bro. Like we if you're listening, like Shammy, we literally could have maybe got this truth out there. But now, because you want to play your little game of, oh, I'm busy, or oh, I forgot, oh no, I forgot, or oh, my computer takes like 30 minutes to load up. Like what's happening is you're not being honest with me, and you're not being honest with yourself. That's for sure. Be honest with yourself before actually being honest with me, and realize that you got to gain some fucking courage, man. Like, that's what being a man is about. That's probably why you haven't had a girlfriend, man, in years. Because if I'm sensing weakness in you internally, what do you think women are sensing?
We've allowed a matrix to get set up in our minds to believe that this is the way life is, and it's really not. Like, we determine what life is. You as an individual determine what your life is and what it's supposed to be. And we've allowed people outside of our own minds to dictate what we believe is life, and society is what's supposed to be, and this and that. We have the power to change that in a heartbeat, in an instinct. Society can change in any direction that we want it to go, if we're all thinking on the same level, in the same frequency, vibrating at the same level and frequency, and connecting to the universal source, the God frequency, whatever you want to call it. We all have some type of inner connection to one another, and we don't understand this world. We don't understand this life. None of us do. None of us understand this life. So don't let people make you feel like that you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know what you're doing, just because they've been around longer. Just because they've been walking the earth for 70 plus years, not knowing who they are. Don't let others dictate who you're going to be, and always find out the truth within your heart, and that's what my brand is all about. Going deep within yourself, within your mind, within your heart, your body, finding out who you are, what you're supposed to be here in this earth, why you're here, and what your capabilities are. What are you capable of doing? What God-given gifts were you gifted with to provide, to show to us, to showcase to the world? And we all have something. Some of us have many talents, many God-given gifts, but I know for sure we all have at least one gift that is, worthy of showcasing to the world,
Yeah, man. So I agree with pretty much what he's saying. It's not that I don't agree with what the guy's saying. It's just, it's annoying because, he's talking about these great things, but he himself isn't doing anything about it. He has a lot of knowledge, but he's not really doing much at all with the knowledge he has. And I know low key why. I know why. It's because he's scared. He's fearful. He doesn't want to go out and post these things. Hell, he would probably never come out in public with me and make content. Doing the interviews I did at Rutgers, or other things that I want to do. That I need help because I can't do everything by myself. That's what people don't understand as well. I'm a one-man show here, man. I don't have a lot of resources or anything like that at all. I really, if you think I do, I don't. I'm a one-man show. I don't even have one person helping me. Hell, it's funny because some of the people I watch are small just like me, but they at least have some people helping them, given they have a much bigger following than me. But this guy's complaining about not having help, but I have zero help. I have zero help. Even guys that come on here, or people all the time might say they're down to come on. No one really comes on consistently, at least. Shammy's actually been on the most, funny enough. But like I said, the men lack consistently, and that goes to show where they're at. They're not strong enough. They haven't developed the courage yet. I can't do it for them. I can only motivate, and sometimes I have to be insulting because it's embarrassing. I feel embarrassed for him and people like him. There's nothing more that annoys me than people who have no excuse to be ignorant and no excuse to be taking action, that just don't take action, and they'll make an excuse, but it just comes down to fear. It's like fear and laziness and stupidity or something. I don't know. It's fear and laziness. That's the only thing I can think of, really. And it's annoying for someone like me who's been making videos since 2019, trying to to wake people up and taking the risk myself and risking my image. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've gained respect from people. I've gained skills doing it. Just talking to a camera, I'm not the best at it, but I've gained skills doing it. Gained skills using the streaming software or whatever, and how how to go live and all the stuff works. And there's still many more to learn. You know, I don't even have a studio. I just use my computer and some lights and a mic and put some nice clothes on and my hat, right? So I'm a very small operation here, but I'm taking risks. People might say, and I've complained about this with the dude I had on live recently that told me to take it down because he was afraid his Whole Foods job was going to fucking fire him, which is just, I mean, what a pussy you have to be scared to lose your job at a supermarket. And just be scared in general that you're going to lose your job. I mean, this is how much of pussies men are. This is how much of pussies men are. I can't stress it enough. And people who know and don't do anything piss me off a lot. And that's unfortunately what Shammy Deep is falling under the category of. Until he can prove me wrong. Listen, I want him to prove me wrong. I want people to come out and make content and do it better than me. That's what I want. So that it's not about me or who's better at it. It's about the message. So yeah, man, I think I've pretty much said enough here. I hope I said something that makes sense. I appreciate you hopping on and spending a little bit of quality time with me. Like I said, I didn't even feel like making a video. I was actually pretty busy this past weekend. And when I got back, I just didn't really feel like making content. And the reason why is because there's a lot to talk about, man. Like, there's so much going on. There's a lot of angles to take. The issue is just people aren't receiving it. People really, truly aren't receiving the message. Even if they do receive it, they have to do something with what they're learning. Not just say they understand and they're good. No, they have to learn and go deeper, and then they have to start spreading the knowledge. And people have to stop being afraid and stop caring about what other people think. Because in the end of the day, caring about what people think you're only hurting yourself. You're making yourself feel worse than you need to be. You're making yourself feel insecure. And you're just overanalyzing things that aren't necessary. Simply just stop caring. Stand for truth. Only care about truth. Care about what morality in the world and God or whoever is going to think about you. Don't think about what these people who don't even know shit, who haven't even done a lick of research into anything, don't care about what they think. Because I'm telling you, this path, it empowers you. You'll learn skills. You'll gain courage. And once you start getting that courage, and you keep doing the right thing and keep moving forward from the obstacles that are going to come in your way, the world will reward you. I promise. This is your best friend, Justin, from jmasterproductions. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video. Let me know what you think about everything I said. If you ever want to join a live stream of mine or make a podcast together, you can email me. That will be below. All my social medias will be below. You can DM me as well. Don't forget, like I said, comment. Let me know what you think about everything I said. Like the video, share it around. Most importantly, subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.